Over my years as a realtor in Waterloo region, I've had the pleasure of meeting plenty of successful person. Here are some of their stories. Welcome to People Around Town. So I'm here and I'm super excited to chat to Dustin Champagne. Dustin is an insurance agent with Desjardins Insurance. And I don't know too much about insurance, but what I find remarkable is Dustin has a team out here to service their clients' needs. I'm not too familiar with the team concept in insurance. However, it's something that's commonplace in the real estate industry. So I'm very excited to have you on, Dustin.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Indeed. So this is called People Around Town. And now Dustin, if I know correctly, is originally from like Elora, Bellwood area. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So Center Wellington is where I grew up.
You grew up,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But you've built a thriving business here in Waterloo region?
In Waterloo, yes. So there was an opportunity for us to, and when I say us, it's my team. I'm always referring to my team, but we had the opportunity to open an agency here in this growing region, and we've been really excited to be here over the last 3.5 years.
Awesome. So like, okay, insurance. Why is insurance? Like I remember sometimes when somebody said, Darryl, you're a salesperson, you should get into insurance. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know anything about insurance. Like, what made you get into insurance in the first place?
So my story really started in 2011. I came from a background more retail sales, customer service, primarily just from the golf industry, actually.
Oh, golf, okay. Good golfer yourself?
I try, yeah.
He's better than me.
Yeah, so
I'm going to throw that out there right now.
I try and I love the game. So I've always been passionate about playing the sport. So I try and get out, at least once a week throughout the summer, especially since our season is so short. But I was in that industry. I really, really enjoyed that industry. But being so seasonal, I knew that there was something else potentially out there for me.
Okay.
My story in insurance actually started in 2011, and it was because of a family situation.
Oh.
I come from a line of entrepreneurs within my family. My father's an entrepreneur, my mother, and my aunt, who was like a second mother to me. She owned her own dental practice, and she unfortunately passed away at a young age, and she was taken by cancer.
Oh, wow.
And that really changed our family's life.
Okay.
Through that process, my aunt was very well insured, and we were grateful that she chose to go that route.
Yeah.
During her career, and I always knew about insurance. You never get in, usually go to school and be like, hey, I want to be an insurance agent or get into insurance, right?
Exactly, yes.
But I thought it was just very interesting going through that process. So there was an opportunity with the time State Farm Insurance.
Okay, like a good neighbor.
Yeah, and I had applied to work in the claims division at State Farm, and it was an auto and property position.
So at this time, were you like just right after secondary school or post-secondary?
So I was a few years after college.
Okay.
Like I said, I was working in the golf industry, and I'd been doing that for quite a few years. And it was that summer that kind of changed everything.
Wow.
For me. So I had the opportunity of starting in the insurance business, working in claims. And then that was just where the sky was the limit when it came to insurance.
Right.
I always knew I wanted to eventually get to a place of sales with insurance, but I wanted to really develop myself, get a good understanding of the industry.
And how it works.
And how it works, yeah. It's just amazing everything that goes in the back end of insurance, right? We all see, like when we buy our auto insurance, we just see our pink slip, or we just know, hey,
it's done. Yes,
and it's done. But there's so much more that goes into that.
So how many insurance agents out there would you think have actually worked in the claims side of things, or is it just almost something foreign to them, and they say, hey, whatever, that's for somebody else to do?
Yeah, there's not a lot of agents that have come from, say, a corporate side. There are some out there. A lot of the industry, when it comes to sales and actually becoming an agent or a broker, it's all about the people,
True.
right? It's all about building relationships and knowing how to manage a team, be an entrepreneur, right? So a lot of people, when they're in that corporate lifestyle or feel, they almost get stuck there, and that's where I knew, like, I always knew eventually I would want to open up an agency or become an agent or a broker, but you get very comfortable in being part of
the claims part,
or whether it be claims or just the corporate side
the
of
corporate
things,
side,
right? Yeah.
So, sorry, you said you always knew. So, like, how many, or when you decided to get into insurance, you were thinking, hey, this is a stepping stone for me becoming an insurance agent.
Yes.
Is that, to me, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's not the quick money mindset.
Right.
At all.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
To me, that's a service mindset.
Yep.
Let me know how the work is done.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know the process of which. Let me know the process of somebody getting a claim covered, or what's the ins, what's the outs, what are some of the roadblocks that we find along the way.
Yep.
But to me, by knowing the ins and outs, now you can speak with confidence. Now you can tell somebody, we've got you covered. If you have this and you have this coverage, or just this umbrella coverage,
Yep.
We've got you.
Yeah, and I did that I was on the corporate side for 10 years.
Wow.
And developing my skills. I had originally started in claims, like I mentioned. I was there for a few years before transitioning more into a CRC, like a client relationship center role.
Wow.
Where I had an opportunity to get licensed and provide more sales and service, but it was there to be an extension of our agents in support of them when they weren't available, or if a client needed immediate assistance with anything and they couldn't get in touch with their agent. And that's just the great thing with the company that I represent. They do a great job at putting the customer first.
Well, I think that's, to me, you're putting the customer first by knowing what the heck you're doing on the front side and the back side, right? If you don't know how a deal closes in real estate, you can't tell people that this deal is going to go smoothly if you have no idea how it's going to go.
Right.
And I guess you're getting the phone call for the most part when there's a problem.
For the most part, yeah. So it's from current clients. A lot of the calls is usually because there's a problem. You got to go through that claim process, and we're there to provide that level of service, be able to hold our client's hand and make sure they're taken care of. That's what they're paying us to help them with their insurance, right?
Right.
But then there's other things, whether it be simple service changes or just they need professional advice on specific questions. Maybe they're going to be looking at buying a specific property, whether it be on the personal side or commercial side, and they want to get some information on that or get a quote. There's a lot that we do as a one-stop shop within my agency.
So being a one-stop shop, you do commercial, industrial then too?
So we don't do any industrial or agricultural stuff within Desjardins.
Okay.
Those types of things typically require more specialty insurance. So we would usually refer those to a broker who specializes within those specific markets. But everything from your personal lines, home and auto,
yes,
your rental dwelling properties, seasonal properties, cottages, commercial in all different types of small businesses.
All right.
Commercial realty, condo corporations, strip plazas, those types of things. We do all of that. And the one thing that we really do in our office and that we're passionate about is the life insurance, succession planning, living benefits. And that has really become a passion for not only myself, but my wife who works in the agency as well, and our team, because that's where it all started with my journey. Right?
That's true. You have that. But I think also if done properly, that's where you're not, I guess, fixing a problem. You're actually pushing things forward. You're sort of seeing the future and making optimal scenarios. Not optimal, but I guess positive scenarios for your clients if they're coming to sort of entrust you with with how their estates are going to be handled
sure.
and so forth and so on, right? That's
Yeah.
got to be at least exciting for you, as opposed to, oh my gosh, there's a fire. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there's a leak. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, we had an accident.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And
Like,
that's certainly more exciting, you know, helping families plan, helping individuals plan for their future, right? Because life insurance is a product that we buy with our health, not our wealth.
correct.
So it's important to secure insurability as soon as you can while you're healthy, and when you're young as well. So that's a big part in our office, is that we really like the education process of it all, and just being able to educate and inform our clients, and whether they get the product through us or through someone else, we feel like we've done a good job at being able to provide that education aspect to it.
Okay, so this might sound like I'm bashing lone wolf insurance agents. I'm not. But how does, I guess, your background and actually even your life, sort of through your aunt and the fact that you have a team and all that, like, that's got to put you further ahead than the lone wolf insurance agent that says, hey, you know, I want to just do something.
For sure, we can definitely differentiate ourselves from the competition, and it's a saturated market, just the same with a lot of other markets, just like real estate, everything else. But we definitely feel we have an advantage because of the experience that we have, the dynamic that we have within just the team, and it's taken a lot of hard work, and we're proud of that. Right. We're proud when we're able to build those rapports with clients, whether they've been referred to us, they found us through social media or through online, marketing, maybe Google, those types of things. Anytime that we have an opportunity to speak with somebody, it's always great to build those rapports, because it's all about building relationships and just helping people, right?
And keeping it, because insurance, like in many cases real estate, like in many cases many other industries, it's increasingly becoming commoditized,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's a value in what you do, but if people don't understand what you do,
Mm-hmm.
then it comes down to what's the fee, what's the rate, so forth and so on. How do you make that less of an issue? Yeah.
So we really don't try and sell on price. Price isn't the most important thing. Anytime that you speak to somebody, they usually value. So the answer is that they value service.
Correct.
Right. And if they're coming to you already, and they're not calling, say, a 1-800 number,
Yes.
or going online to find their insurance, they're seeking that professional advice, and that's what we're there for.
All right.
So there's always going to be the need to have like that omni-channel type environment.
Right.
There's something that we have with Desjardins. We want to be able to provide those opportunities to our clients, whether they want to be able to do things and manage their insurance on their own, whether they want to have access to speak with an agent. Desjardins does a great job at being able to provide the clients with that opportunity. Having someone like myself or any of our other agents within the network, where a client can actually reach out, get that trusted advice, build that rapport, and find, just build that trust, right? Because we're really here to provide tailored solutions to clients, identify any sort of gaps,
Yes.
and help them understand the coverage, because it's something that we don't learn in school. We don't learn it growing up.
Nothing.
So, and I still remember being a teenager, getting my first car, and I'm just trying to shop around and get the cheapest rate,
Yes.
right? But you don't realize what that actually means, right? When you have to put through that claim, do you want that hassle of having to maybe have long hold times, not understanding
Nobody to talk to necessarily.
nobody to talk to, or you just didn't understand what coverage that you got, and that's what's important about us being able to have those one-on-one conversations with clients.
So with Desjardins, as opposed to State Farm, not bashing State Farm, what are some of the improvements of service or I guess managing and running a business within the Desjardins company that you've seen?
So there's not a lot that's changed in regards to the structure of the agent network from when we went from State Farm to Desjardins. The nice thing with Desjardins is that it's a Canadian company. It's been around for 125 years. You know, it's I'm proud to be part of Desjardins, right? So that's a good thing. I think the question really that you should be asking, what's the difference between working with a Desjardins agent and a broker?
Oh, fair enough.
Right. So the nice thing.
Let's pretend I asked that question.
The nice thing is when you're working with a Desjardins agent is that we only sell Desjardins product.
Right.
So we understand our product very well. Our product is underwritten by Desjardins. Our claims is housed within Desjardins. So everything is done within our umbrella of Desjardins.
Nobody's passing the buck to
So
anybody.
it's not being sourced out or anything like that. So that's one thing that I really pride myself on and why I wanted to become an agent for Desjardins. There's a lot of opportunity where you can be an agent with some other companies. You could go and open up your own brokerage, but Desjardins is where I really wanted to be. So
fair enough. And then you got into it. Now, didn't you just jump in with 2 feet straight to like a team model? Is that?
Yeah. So so obviously going back into my story on the corporate side, working in claims and the CRC, I had the opportunity in 2017 to move into a commercial underwriting role as a business underwriting specialist.
All right.
Supporting all of our agents within the Kitchener-Waterloo North territory in regards to helping them and their teams underwrite and manage specific commercial risks. And then when I had the opportunity to open my agency in 2021, through our agency internship process, it was really encouraged for us to come into this building a solid team right from the ground up.
Okay, that's part of the framework they suggest.
It's part of the framework. It's part of that investment as an entrepreneur that we put into it to develop and have that team, really to support our clients.
Correct.
As we start growing and developing, right? And that's something that we've done, and we've been able to grow in the last few years.
I got to give you full credit for that because as a realtor, I think there's a lower barrier of entry for realtors than there is for insurance agents. As a realtor, I got in and I was running and hustling my tail off, and then I knew it was time to grow a team when, in short, my service fell off.
Right.
And chinks in the armor started to show.
Yeah.
And that was, okay, if I'm going to do any more deals than this, I need people to support me. I have to give Desjardins full credit for not letting it ever get to that point. Now, I'm sure it could happen. Different businesses are run differently.
For sure.
I'm sure.
Yep.
And mistakes happen, stuff happens, don't get me wrong. But I kind of like the assurance that Desjardins model sort of gives people that are looking to work with Desjardins.
For sure. Yeah. It's again, that's the great thing with this organization and company, right? Is they really try to set you up for success in the best they can.
Yeah.
As independent agents, Desjardins is our partner, right?
Correct.
So we're really kind of coming into this together to be able to grow and build strong roots within communities and be here for many years to come.
No, okay, there's so many things I can touch on. I'm going to go with the first thing that comes to mind. You've had your team, your brokerage, if you will, for now 4 years. And you've built up one heck of a solid book of business. I guess repeat and referral is probably your bread and butter. I'm assuming.
Yes.
I can tell that right now because you're good.
Yeah.
So that goes a long way. But outside of repeat and referral, what sort of other methods or veins are you using for new business?
So a lot of it is you have to really build it on referral. Coming into this and really the dynamic and the team atmosphere that we have is we don't want to grow too fast.
Okay.
Right. The most important thing is growing with the right clientele and growing profitably.
Okay.
We don't want to bring on and underwrite specific risks that don't really meet our appetite or that aren't favorable.
All right.
So we're not really marketing ourselves in ways to find single line autos, for example.
Understood.
Right? We're really trying to find those multi-line households, those families, so that we can create that rapport with the client and create that generational opportunity.
Yes, client.
And longevity, right, with a client, to help them with all of their needs. Because when you start off, even if you're starting off, you're coming out, you get your license, you're getting that first car. We want to be able to help you with that, right? And then you want to be looking at planning for maybe university, and then you're going to need to go and get your first apartment. We want to be able to help with that. You come out of university, you finish school, maybe you meet a significant other and your spouse, and you want to tie that knot. We want to be able to help with that in the succession planning, family building. It all just comes with building that fence around the house for our clients, right?
So does Desjardins or yourself employ, what sort of system? I guess we get into our businesses and we assume that other people know what we know, right?
Right.
So what's your process to make sure your clients know how you can help them? Do you flat out say, hey, sign this, let me know when you're looking at getting into a house? Or
so in our office we actually have like a business development wheel to help with how we're maintaining and growing our book of business, right? And there's a lot of different resources that you can pull from that, from your direct marketing, going out and doing some door knocking. We use the term X dating within the Desjardins network.
So X dating.
So an X date would be getting to ask when you say you're doing a door knock or you're walking into a local business, of when their renewal is coming up.
And nobody knows the answer to that.
Right. A lot of people don't know their specific renewal date, but they have an idea of maybe the season, right, or approximate month.
Okay.
And that's just where being able to obtain that, and then just simply asking if it's okay that we reach out maybe 30 to 45 days before before that time comes, to just offer a complimentary review, a quote. There's no obligation, really just a second opinion.
I can see that being very good for you, because I don't know any other insurance agents that do that.
Right.
It's
like
that's, to me, that's free agency at its best.
And there's other things in there, right? So you have, I think it's solid as an agency to build some good center of influences within your region. Mm-hmm. So other professionals, whether it be your local realtors, accountants, law firms, mortgage agents, there's so many out there that can really kind of be able to have that referral business within the community. Doing your online marketing is important, but again, in my office, I'm careful with that, because online marketing is very competitive.
Correct.
And you don't want to adversely target the wrong individuals and start bombarding yourself with too many calls of the things that you don't want to write.
Correct.
Right? You want to focus on the things that you can do well. Within our current book of business, we really see there's always pivot opportunities within our book of business, and it's important for us. We really we set up like insurance financial reviews for our clients. Every client within our book of business gets what we call like an office file, meaning there's specific follow-ups that are always there to have different touch points within the year.
So and how many touch points within a year do you try to get?
With our clients, we typically
and it's
have
not calling them a number, but it's like,
I typically try and have between 4 to 7 touch points with our clients just throughout the year, just to check in and say hi.
It puts you far ahead.
Even if it's just a simple a call to wish them a happy birthday.
Fair.
Right? Or, especially around the holiday season, it really slows down for us in the insurance side, because people are getting ready for Christmas. They're taking that time off, enjoying that time with family. Nobody's really shopping around for insurance during that time, but it gives us an opportunity to be with our families, but also be able to reach out to our clients and wish them a happy holiday season and such.
Well, I think that puts you front of mind as well. I have to give you credit because I've seen you somewhere else before. I've met Dustin at some point in time, and I knew of Dustin at some point in time. And this podcast was a perfect excuse for me to reach out to Dustin because I wanted him on because I'm like, I see you, man, and I don't know where it is. Or maybe it's because of your support of minor league sport or something like that. Now, is that a passion? Is there really business that comes from supporting minor league sports, or is it just something that you feel you should do?
Not that. We just do it because we want to try and give back to the community in any way that we can.
Okay.
It's not to try and get any rewards or business from it.
Okay.
It's honestly out of the good of our own hearts, and we try and do some sort of community give back once a month. Okay. Desjardins helps with that as a partner as well, and being able to support us as independent agents to be able to do that. So we try. There's a lot of different things we do within the community, whether it be with the local the Humane Society.
Okay, my wife would be happy to hear that. Yeah.
So we do a lot of stuff with them. The Waterloo Food Bank. Some things with the Ontario Minor Hockey Association. We do a couple things with the Waterloo Wolves.
Yes.
Mamas for Mamas, which is a big thing. We do some things for the women's period campaign. That usually runs in the month of February, I believe it is.
Okay.
We just wrapped that up last month. So yeah, there's always something that we're trying to do. We've done pizza for frontline staff at a nursing home. Just anything that we can do to try and give back, be part of the community, and help where we can.
And it feels good in the process.
It always feels good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the community definitely appreciates your involvement, and I'll definitely figure out where the heck I know you from.
Yeah.
But it'll come to me shortly. Now I'm learning a lot about the insurance industry that, again, didn't really know much about. But in terms of for like the for the insurance consumers through the different services that are offered by Desjardins and yourself, what are some things that like people don't know about insurance and the different services you provide that they should probably be aware of?
So I think the biggest thing is just understanding of coverage, and the different products that are available. If I can give any sort of recommendation or advice, is take us up on the opportunity for a complimentary information session.
Okay.
Right. So. And whether that be through our office, through another Desjardins agent's office, a local broker, whoever it is, take that opportunity to speak with an insurance professional. Yeah. It's one of those things that we, don't like to pay for.
Sure.
But we want to know that we have the coverage in place when the problem arises.
Understood.
Right. And whether that be from a life side of things that could stem from getting a diagnosis for cancer or an ailment and how to navigate that, from suffering from some form of disability. There's a lot of business owners that could really, you take hairdressers or barbers or contractors, you injure yourself or you lose the use of your hands. How are you going to do your job, right?
Correct.
So just being able to speak with a professional on that, take that time. Don't just shop for the cheapest price.
Yes, like you did when you were 16.
Yeah, it's you want to make sure that you're getting good value for the product that you get.
Right.
So it doesn't mean like you want to get the most expensive, but certainly don't go for the cheapest. Do get some quotes the same way that you would if you were dealing with a contractor, that type of thing. But really go with the provider that you feel you're going to get the best value from, and that's really going to be there to look after you in the event of a claim.
Understood.
So just take that time. You owe it to yourself to schedule an hour with a professional just to sit down, do a financial review, an insurance review of your portfolio, and really understand your product. It's free to do that.
Yeah.
There's no broker that I'm aware of or agent that will charge for their services for that.
Silly if they did.
It's a lot of the reason why we get into this as agents, and I would say the very strong agents is we just want to help people. Mm-hmm. We want to educate them and be there in time of need. So,
well, I've gotten more than I thought I'd get out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't get much out of you, Dustin. I'm greatly appreciative. But something came to mind when you're saying that. And I'm sure there's been many instances, but is there a story, I guess, other than your aunt, mm-hmm. of a time where, and yes, you're getting a phone call when it's not a good situation, mm-hmm. but is there a story that you remember where things ended up okay, I guess, for your clients, or I guess outside of the signing of a good client, I guess I could say also outside of the money of it, what's a moment or two where you said to yourself, I'm in the right business here?
Yeah, so there was there's actually quite a few moments, which is very rewarding, and it's what makes us proud of doing what we do, right? One example that I can use is we had a commercial client come to us wanting to get a quote for their commercial building. It had a small restaurant on the main level,
okay,
and apartments on the second level.
All right.
They came with us with a quote, asking for a quote, and I was happy to go through that with them. I had asked if they had a copy of their current policy that I could review as well, just to review their current coverage. And a lot of clients get hesitant with that because they feel, oh, you just want to see what I'm paying and maybe just try and match that or whatever, right? Yeah. And that's not really what it's about. We could say, hey, you could block out the premium. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to see what type of coverage that you currently have and help identify any gaps that might be there.
Right.
So there was this one commercial building in particular that I saw, and we have good tools within our database that we can identify specific rebuild structures of buildings. And so I used our tool, and I got a rebuild structure of this commercial building. And the rebuild that I got on it was just over $1.3 million to rebuild this building.
Okay.
Client currently had $450,000 worth of protection with his current provider. And with a co-insurance clause as well. And we're not going to get into co-insurance. Again, you have any questions in regards to that? Or if you see, hey, oh my God, I have co-insurance, give us a call. We're happy to explain that and review.
Okay.
But there was, the property was grossly underinsured with a co-insurance clause built into it as well. And I had asked the client, but by chance, like, how did your current provider come to this number? Like, was there a professional assessment done on the building? Because based on square footage, like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up. And they're like, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay. I'm like, when did you purchase the building? They're like, oh, I got it in 2013, I think it was. And how much did you pay for this building? $450,000. I'm like, oh,
so there you go.
So this is where it went. And the biggest thing and you'll understand this in your business, is that market value and rebuild value are two totally different things.
Completely.
Our job as an insurance agent is to put you back in the same financial position as prior to the loss. So if your building comes down, we have to rebuild
Get your building back
to how it was prior to the loss, right? We're certainly not going to be able to do that for $450,000 worth of coverage. So when I went and showed this, I said, look, my recommendation is to go back to your current provider, get them to maybe revise their policy and do a full review of this. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have. The client couldn't get in touch with the provider that they were with. They were having troubles and just said, you know what? My renewal's coming up. I feel more confident. I'm worried that I'm actually underinsured. I want to just get my insurance with you.
Okay.
Great. Got it in. Now, when you write a new insurance policy, you never really want a claim to happen right away
No.
because that's part of your loss ratios, right? But flash forward about 9 months later, there was a loss that happened. It wasn't a total loss. It was a partial loss, and it was a small fire that ended up stemming. It was
From the commercial place below?
from the tenant above.
Tenant above,
It was
okay.
actually they had left a candle burning too long, and ended up starting a fire. And there was about 70,000 worth of damages to the upper unit. The client had this claim fully covered and only had to pay, I think it was a $1,000 deductible.
Wow.
But I went back to the client and I said, so you remember when we first did this?
Yes.
If you would have been in your same current situation with like the co-insurance penalty deductible you had, and I can't remember the exact number off the bat, but it was over 10,000 that would have been out of his pocket.
Wow.
He instantly saw the value and went, I am so grateful that I made that switch.
Yeah.
And that's a big, like, feel good type moment, right? Where you're like, I had that person covered. Same thing happens all the time with auto insurance. You know, when we recommend having maybe accident forgiveness protection, having loss of use, so rental vehicle coverage, right? We've had situations where clients like, oh my God, I got into an accident. Do I have rental car coverage? Like, please tell me I do. Yeah, we have you all covered. And they feel good knowing that we identify those needs right from the get-go, right? So yeah, those are some good stories, but that commercial one will always sit back in my head.
And just happy that you got in when you did at that point in time.
Yeah.
Well, Dustin, I'm happy I got you in.
Yes,
when I did.
thank you.
And it's an absolute pleasure. Keep taking care of the good people of this region.
Will do, for sure.
And you will remain a quality person of my People Around Town podcast. And I appreciate you.
Thank you, Darryl.
And I look forward to actually figuring out where the heck I know you from. We'll sort it out later.
We'll sort it out.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.